Well, hello my fellow car modelers, how you doing today? I have another new product that I want to show you, or a new product I discovered that seems to be constantly happening. So I've stacked up quite a few. I walk into Andy's or I see something on the internet and I see other people using it, or I just never seen them before, and I have to buy them, and then we try them out here. Seems to be I'm doing this a lot, so now I got a whole bunch of things I want to share with you guys and give them a try. And I kind of already tried these in a past video, but didn't really get too much into them. We're going to really take a look at these. I walked into Andy's, and that is my grandson sneezing. Sorry there. And he had these weird little silicone brushes from AK. And I don't know, I saw them and just I got a funny feeling about them that they would work, so I'm going to see if they really do. I did a little bit of painting in that video that I did about painting the AN fittings with one of these brushes, but let's take these all out and let's show you. Get them all out. And of course one doesn't want to come. There we go. So we'll get all these brushes. Nice little packaging. But what these things are really used for, I guess, is in like shaping clay into figures and just, you know, doing work with sculpting. So I don't know, but let's see. I heard Andy told me a lot of guys have been buying these and using them for detail painting. They work really well, so we're going to try that out. Let's take a close look at these. And you've got this tip right here, which I used this one already, and they're just really soft, but it's just a silicone piece. And they're different shapes. You got a few different shapes. You've got this flat one, kind of a chisel shape, and you have this one that's kind of a circular cutoff at an angle, so that gives you some different types of shaping. This one kind of curves around. You could see how they're made for, I don't know if I would use all of these, but they're made for sculpting and forming in clay and forming shapes. But I don't know, I thought we'd give this a try. So I just pulled some stuff out of the junk box that I wanted to try out, and we'll do some detail painting, like on chassis. I'm gonna use all Tamiya paints. We'll get this open here. I think I'll just go ahead and use the brush I was using last time, because it just seems to be a conventional shape, comes to a very sharp tip right there. Let's see how this would work in painting some detail. I'm just going to try to paint these bolts. So bolt that piece of suspension into the chassis, and maybe just a couple things, just a couple little dabs. See how this works out. And a little touch right there. And a little touch right there. We'll just do these. Pretty good control. What do you think? Do you see that? How I just got on that little piece? This is something in modeling I really enjoy. I love doing a lot of detail painting. That's why when I saw these, I thought this would be really cool to use. So, because I'm just really in love with bringing stuff alive with just a little bit of detail paint. You see what I got going there? See right there, I just touched lightly on the raised thing, and I've got myself some pretty decent detail. So yeah, already like that. Let's try to do on this interior piece. And I know these are just out of the parts box, they're not kits being worked on, so it's not painted, but I just want to see how it will work by just doing, you know, my little touches to make the handle pop out. And I'm very, very impressed with the control I got with this, because one thing, you don't have like brushes that when you hit something they spray out and then they hit other things, so it's working out pretty good. Yeah, I'm really liking that. Can you see that? here's the next thing I want to try is tires. Now, something I've always enjoyed, like I remember when I first started building model cars, and I just had this nice steady hand ability to do detail painting, so it was something I really enjoyed. That's why I have such a good time with it, and something I loved doing right from the first models cars that I built, and I was so impressed how it turned out and loved showing it off, was I like doing the lettering on tires. I know it's kind of something we almost don't even need to worry about today. Most model kits, the best thing to do is either have pre-printed tires or nothing on the tire at all, so you can put decals on, and I'm all for that too. I do that a lot now too, but I really did try to do as good of a job on getting these raised letters painted, and it looked good. You know, to me that was better. So I'm gonna just use the Tamiya flat white, and let's see, you want to make sure you don't have a lot on there. You don't want a lot on there, but we're going to just see if I can do what I've always done. And one thing, my technique in doing this is going very lightly. I don't put a lot of pressure. I'm going to get a little better paint on here. I don't put a lot of pressure down. I really try to just glaze across there. And yeah, I'm not too bad. But quite honestly, the paint stays on the brush pretty good. Again, I pressed a little bit too hard. You don't want to have too much where it'll roll off on you, but you want to have enough there to... I think it would take some practice, but I'm liking the direction it's going. I don't know how to explain it. It's different than using a bristle brush. I can see where with some practice I could get this down, and I really would like to use these. Because something that I see, I messed up a little there. Trying to go too fast. I think another trick is have your paint right, but this paint is kind of thick. It needs to be thinned a little, but not too shabby. I just got to do a little practice and get a little better control. But you know what I want to do? Let's try a different shaped brush and see what happens. Because again, that was that one right there. And I'm going to try with, there was one I saw that was kind of interesting. This one, I wonder what I can do with that. Kind of got a fountain pen shape to it or something. Let's see. Oh wow. I kind of like that other one better. Yeah, this one not so much. I'm not digging it so much. I like that other one. So it was about $10 getting all these, and really I would just be happy getting that one, I think. Although I'll play around with some of them. Like I want to try this one out in a little bit. It's more like a flat chisel shape. I think it's going to take some practice, but I definitely like this brush better. Let's try something else. I'm going to try to this steering column in the way. I always liked doing my gauges, and I always kind of was able to get in there and just hit the numbers. Probably should have a little better paint there. I would just like hit the tack. It's hard. I got the steering wheel in the way. I don't want to break it off. It's glued on there pretty good. Let's see if I can get this, if you can see it. Get that needle. The bristle brushes. I was kind of expecting a little bit better success. That didn't work out. I don't know. Let's try something else. Again, I want to use a metallic. This is that chiseled one. Looks more like a, a flat brush. Can't really see on that. Let's see what the coverage is like. Where I do a lot of my brush painting on big stuff like this, I don't really use the Tamiya paints. It's kind of just pushing it around, which I think that's more the paint. And it's going to be interesting. If I ruin the brush, I ruin the brush. I haven't been able to try this out. I'm going to try something like what I do when I paint with hand painting, when I do my detail parts. So I want to try doing something like what I've done in the past on some of my videos when I've painted with the Model Masters, which these are lacquer base, and I've been waiting for the lacquer base Tamiya to come out because they have really good replacement colors for now these defunct Model Masters testers metallizers, which I love metallizers because I've showed you before how I actually can brush paint these things. But I like the metallizers because they're a lacquer base, and I've always been very successful at brush painting like transmissions and big stuff like that, engine parts and all that. I've done pretty well with that, and being able to do some cool detail painting in that regard, and I've done that in a couple of other videos. So we're going to again use this chisel brush here, and we'll try this out. See how it works compared to a brush. Plus, this will give me a chance to see how a solvent-based paint reacts with the silicone brushes. The one thing that I always like to do with this is I can load up my brush and really just get good coverage, and that usually when this stuff self-levels, it just seems to self-level and you don't get brush strokes. And I was hoping you could even eliminate brush stroke possibilities even more with this. And it seems to apply this stuff pretty good, so I think this is going to work out good for my detail painting with metallizers, whichever I end up using later on when these are all extinct totally, and we go with the LP paints. That I'm looking forward to trying those out. Those Tamiya LP paints seem to do the same thing. Andy did it in a video. It seems to do the same thing as a brush. Doesn't do too bad in the coverage. I'm not too unhappy with that. So let's see how it works out in cleaning. Right now I'm just going to wipe it off, but I'm going to go ahead and use lacquer thinner to clean this, and let's see what happens. Right here's the lacquer thinner in here. See how this reacts to the lacquer thinner. The brush still stays good. It doesn't feel weird. I'm gonna do another little thing of lacquer thinner around there. No, these things hold up to lacquer thinner. I don't feel any weirdness or nothing. These work out really good. Let's do something with red. See if I can get some control here. I got a brush in my mouth, so that's why I sound funny. I think this mess up here had a lot to do. I couldn't really get to it well, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So this is something I always liked doing. I loved taking a bit of red. I usually use flat red, and I get on in there, and let's get a good angle. I'll hit that little dial, just hit the needle. I usually like to first hit it with white and then red, and the red pops. I don't know if you can see it, but there. I got it just on the gauge. So my mess ups over here were more, I was having a problem getting around that. See, there we go. Having a hard time getting around that. I'm going to try doing a bezel. I'm using white instead of silver. I figure it would show up better. There we go. Huh, that worked out pretty good. Yeah, the thing, like I said, the bristles don't go all over the place, and they don't take off and hit other things when you're moving across there. But I'm pretty pleased. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's do one of these with some white. Oh yeah, look at that. One little tiny pin and I was able to get it on there. So I think I need to do a little more practicing, but where I'm going with this is these are worth taking a look at. We got this, and then let me pull out a brush that is, you know, these things just kind of, I know, they get frayed on the end, and this one you always have a nice tip. This one they just kind of fight with you, and then when you're painting, you're trying to paint something and you get a stray strand go off and throw paint over on the side like that. You don't have that with these. So I might play around with some of the other shapes, but quite honestly, if they would sell these things, I don't know if they do, but if they sell these things separate, this is the one I would get. I would probably buy these all the time. If there even needs to be, quite possibly. These things don't wear out very fast, so you won't really buy a lot of them. It's bad for the companies because then they don't sell as many, but that could be good for us because then we don't have to keep on buying brushes. So all in all, I think these would be safe to use with any type of solvent-based paint, obviously. My hardcore lacquer thinner cleaner, you know, that I use to clean all my brushes, didn't affect these one bit. I think I can get, like on that bezel and that needle right there, I can get pretty good control, probably practice. I don't know how to describe it. It is a little different than using a bristle brush, so you got to work on your technique if that's what you do. If you're into detail painting like me, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give this the Lucas seal of approval. If AK is watching, listening, you guys, I think I'm going to try to get a word for you. If you're not, I don't know yet, I haven't looked it up, but if you're not selling these separate, sell these separate. I really would rather not buy the whole set, although I'll figure out a use for these if there is. But this seems to be the really only one I'm interested in. It does my detail painting that I want. I'm pretty pleased with it. I was able to get on the part I wanted and didn't go anywhere else. And you know, my tire lettering, I think that was more me than the brush. Well, and then the full coverage on when I like to brush paint a big part with metallizers, that other brush did work out pretty good. The chisel shaped one, with just kind of applying and spreading that stuff out thick, because that's how I do it. I kind of would rather use that than a brush, because again, I don't have the brushes going like that and making streaks when I don't need it. There you go. That's the AK silicone brushes. You see they retail for $9.99 at over at Andy's store. Could be different at your store if they carry them. I don't know what they're going for online, but I mean, for $10 you got a bunch of brushes that you can use. Not to mention, I think these are going to last a long time, so if you do have to get all these brushes for $10, I think it's definitely worth it, because you won't have to be buying any brushes for a while, I don't believe. I'll let you know as I start using them. That's that. Wasn't the most exciting video, but it brought you some information, so I hope it works for you. For you guys who like to hand brush. We got a lot more coming later, but this is this for now. I hope you enjoyed. And remember, what do I always say? What is it that I always say? I always say, well, I don't always say it, but I sometimes say, go build a model car. Why? 'Cause it's fun. But I do always say, this is me, Lucas C. Keep cutting that styrene and keep gluing those oh my God, I totally erraned this. I'm signing off. It's been a bad day. I'll talk to you guys later.